Hello, Gene Schwimmer here. Welcome to today's vlog. We begin with some major news. Regular visitors to my vlog know that in the past I have occasionally announced that I've gotten a new subscriber. However, these have always been announcements of getting one subscriber. Today is going to be a first. For the first time since I started this vlog, I announced that I've gotten, in the last 24 hours, count them, two subscribers. They are One Love and Scott Groves. So welcome One Love, welcome Scott Groves, welcome to the family. I hope you'll stick around for a while, and as I always do when I announce new subscribers, let me just inform everybody. I don't think I get, well, I'm pretty sure I don't get notified every time I get a new subscriber. I have more subscribers than I remember getting notified about. So if you subscribed and I don't mention you by name, if I don't thank you by name, it's not because I'm not thankful. It's not because I don't appreciate it. It's because I didn't know, because I wasn't notified. So everybody who subscribed, since the last time I thanked everybody who subscribed, thank you for subscribing. And for those of you who have subscribed before the last time I announced new subscribers, you are still welcome. I still appreciate everybody who subscribed, and I obviously hope for many more. Now on to today's subject. We are doing, I think this is a first, Joe Biden border crisis update. The border crisis that Joe Biden and his administration refuse to acknowledge is a crisis at all. The worst, or the strongest term I heard, was challenged by one official in the Biden administration. Their actions, though, speak a lot more loudly than their words. For instance, calling on volunteers to come help staunch the, well, not really staunch, still let them into the country, but to deal with the massive inflow of unlawful aliens, and that's what they are. They are not undocumented immigrants. They are unlawful aliens. They are foreigners who are in our country in violation of U.S. law. So let's just call them what they are, unlawful aliens. That's what I'm going to do anyhow. So today's update has to do with, well, to show you how ridiculous the Biden administration is. Remember Trump, well, of course everybody remembers Trump was building a wall. Biden, as soon as he got into the White House, as soon as he was president, one of his first executive orders was to stop construction of the wall. And we are now seeing the results. Well, we are seeing one result of that, but we are seeing, well, let me put it this way. The people who are flooding into the border, these especially unaccompanied minors, there was an interview I saw on television earlier today, or on, well, a TV station, Fox Business News, on the internet. I don't have a TV, I watch on the internet. But this bar owner, this was a bar owner across from, well, you know what, I'm getting ahead of myself, I think. Let me just go back and show you a wall, or an incomplete wall. Look at this. This is a photo of the border wall that was in progress that Biden stopped. So you see, it's a mostly complete wall, at least in this area. This is in Texas, except for that one small gap of what, 30 feet? Maybe even less, but not very wide. Unlawful aliens are coming in through that breach, and that's just one breach. But the bar owner is saying, or a bar owner, there's a bar right on the U.S. side of the border. There is a bar there. He was interviewed, and he said that before, under Trump, unlawful aliens would sneak in, or they would come through the gap, and then they would hide. They would hide on his patio. They would hide under, I don't know, tables behind the bar. They would hide. They no longer hide. That's what he was saying. They come through this gap. They no longer hide. What do? They turn themselves over, because under Trump, if they got found, they were immediately sent back to Mexico. But now under Biden, once they get over the border, once they are in our country, Biden lets them stay. It's causing this enormous crisis, and I'm not even getting to well, they're not testing any of these unlawful aliens for COVID. They're just releasing them into the public. There are citizens, mayors of towns near the border complaining about these unlawful aliens wandering around because they were just let into the country. Many of them, last count I saw was 108. That was believed to be a low estimate. It's surely gone up since then as these unlawful aliens still come in. They are not tested for COVID, and they are simply released into the population at the same time that Biden is saying it's Neanderthal thinking for the governor of Florida and the governor of Texas to lift restrictions and let people use their own common sense about wearing masks and so on and so forth. But if you're an unlawful alien, you get to go wherever you want, and then nobody's even testing you to see whether you have coronavirus. But I'm starting to digress. Getting back to my main point, these people come into the border. Actually, it's my penultimate main point. I'm going to make the main point in a moment. But these unlawful aliens come into the country, and they don't hide anymore. They turn themselves over because they know they will be processed and quickly allowed to stay, quickly released. Catch and release. Remember that term, catch and release. That's what's happening. They're being caught and released. So they just turn themselves over. That is the result, or that is the difference between Trump and Biden on immigration. And this is the result of Biden he just, without even thinking, and I mean that literally in many cases, because the man has dementia. He very likely, in many cases, doesn't even know what he's doing. He signs what's in front of him. He reads as well as he can from a teleprompter, whatever he's given to read. But he just, in one fell swoop, overturned all these Trump policies. They are now wondering what to do. Their solution so far is, as I said, to call in volunteers to deal with the crisis, but they're also trying to figure out, brainstorming, but I think I would call it half a brainstorming or half a brainstorming. They're trying to figure out a solution to the problem. What they are really trying to do is trying to figure out a solution to the problem that doesn't acknowledge that Trump was right, that doesn't reinstate any of Trump's policies, because the solution is simple. Just go back to what Trump was doing. Just catch these unlawful aliens and just send them back over the border immediately. Restore the agreement with Mexico that they must stay in Mexico while their claims, almost all of them bogus, are being processed. Instead of letting them into the country, catch and release, they go into the population. They are scheduled for a hearing for which they never show up. I would even go farther back. I would go back to the Eisenhower era. People don't really remember, but Eisenhower had this problem too when the border probably was a lot more porous than it is now, and he would catch unlawful aliens and send them back to Mexico, but not just send them to Mexico right over the border, but the other side of Mexico, as far away from the border as possible, so that these unlawful aliens, once back in Mexico, they couldn't just immediately just try to get under the fence or through the border again. They would be all the way on the other side of Mexico. They would have to travel all the way across the country with who knows what hardship, what inconvenience, what expense. That stopped the problem. And now we can get to my main point. I was getting ahead of myself before. Now everything is all caught up. So back to my main point. Look at this photo again of the incomplete portion of the wall. There's a gap there of maybe 30 feet, as I said. It's not very wide. The point is, in terms of how much the government spends, it would cost almost nothing to close that gap. And Biden will not, we're not talking about building hundreds of miles of wall, even though that's what we should do. We're just talking about closing that very tiny space to keep unlawful aliens from coming through just that little space. And not to put too fine a point on it, that makes no sense. That makes no sense at all not to build just 30 feet of wall for which the funds were already authorized. Remember, the funds are there to build the wall. Biden just stopped it. No appropriation of funds would be required to just close that tiny little gap. And keep in mind that our friends on the left just passed this terrible, awful, no good 1.9 billion coronavirus relief bill, of which about 8% actually goes to coronavirus relief. The rest goes to payoffs to favored Democratic supporters, to include but not limited to badly Democrat-run cities, and especially their pension funds. So if you live in a red state, such as my state of Tennessee, my new state of Tennessee, I was living in New York, so I can tell you how badly that city is run, especially contrasted with the one time that the city was well run under, well, two times, I guess, if you want to be technical, under Giuliani and under Bloomberg. As horrible as he was as a Democratic presidential candidate, he was a darn good mayor of New York, but not as good as Rudy Giuliani, he was just terrific. So I'm just going to leave it there and just ask or just tell everybody who lives in a red state just to enjoy paying for the misgovernance of all these blue states and cities, especially the blue cities. But if you're talking about blue states, I would definitely include New York State, which again I know from personal experience because I lived there for slightly over 40 years. And that's it for today. Thanks for stopping by. Once again, welcome my new subscribers, One Love and Scott Groves. And I will just say that I appreciate your subscribing, but I also appreciate the time that everybody spends with me. I really do appreciate it. If you could spend a little more time, give me a thumbs up if you like this video. That would really be great. Share it with anybody you think would also like it. Got any comments? Comment section below the video. We can also put questions, suggestions for future topics. You could, like One Love and Scott Groves, subscribe. You could also visit my music channel and my cooking channel. I just put up a new recipe yesterday. And, well, actually, it's not so much about cooking. It's about my struggles with cooking because I can't cook. It's a channel for people who hate to cook but have to cook because they don't want to spend all their money on restaurants, or they're just sick of restaurant food, so you have to cook. So visit the channels and come back and see me again. I would love to see all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.